Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Slayer Talk. My name is Mark. With me as always is my wife Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is December 14th, 1999. It's getting closer to Christmas, closer to the end of the year. There's a nip in the air.
Yeah, it is fucking cold. A nip.
We watched an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Speaking of nips.
And did not listen to it because this episode was called Hush.
Yeah.
And it's about fairy tale monsters, apparently.
It was really, really good. Yeah, I've never heard of The Gentleman.
No, I don't know what that is.
I think that's a made-up fairy
The
tale.
Gentleman. Yeah, I think so too, sweetie. All fairy tales are made up.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, I think they created it for this show. I think this is Joss Whedon's fucked up fairy tale.
Oh, Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Really, really good episode. Can't say enough about it. And neither can they. So, I don't even know how we want to start.
Well, let's just start with the episode. So,
All right.
Buffy is in class and gets called to the front by the professor.
Yeah.
It's that, female professor that is actually leading the military people.
Right.
I wish I could remember her name.
Professor Moriarty.
And she tells her to lay on the desk.
To get fucked.
And then calls Riley over. And yeah, I feel like that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But he says, when I kiss you, the sky will get dark. And he kisses her, and the sky gets dark, and then it's just the two of them, and there's a little girl with a weird-looking box singing in a sing-songy like that, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
That's exactly what I thought of.
Like that, but she's singing about...
They're gonna take 7 hearts.
Well, she didn't say hearts. She said, I don't remember
exactly. The gentlemen are coming. And
yeah, no one will be able to speak. And
they need 7.
Maybe they'll take
7.
yours.
Right.
So
I have to see.
It was very creepy. And then her and Riley are talking about what they're going to do in the evening after class.
Okay, well we should clarify that was a dream.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Wow, I forgot that part. Yes, that was Buffy's dream. She wakes up and she's in class and it's over. Oh, geez, yeah. But then after class, her and Riley are talking about what they're going to do in the evening.
And she's giving him the fuck me eyes.
She is totally giving him fuck me eyes. She accidentally says that she is going to be patrolling.
And he's like, what are you doing tonight? She's like, patrolling. He's like, what? Patrolling?
And she's like, I mean, petroleum. I mean, studying.
Smearing petroleum jelly on my lady bits.
And then he's like, I'll be grading papers. And she's like, wait a minute. What he's leaning in to kiss her. And she's like, wait a minute. What papers?
Mm-hmm. Don't we just have the final coming up? Yeah. Like he doesn't have other things to do, maybe.
Yeah.
Like it's just that one class.
Well, maybe, I think a TA is usually only for one class.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know.
Why would he be grading papers?
I don't know.
But yeah, so they're both lying to each other about what they're doing.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And then he has like some conversation with his military buddy, and he's like, yeah, you're a big talker. There's a lot of talk about talking before we get to the no talking.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a big talker or whatever, but like, it's hard for me, and like she's special and I don't want to lie to her and all this stuff.
Yeah, he keeps saying she's special, and his friend's like, you've said that so many times. Like, it's not, I suddenly get it now. I didn't get it the other 60 times.
That's a good impersonation of his friend. Exactly what he sounds like. And then Buffy is saying the same thing, where she's like, every time I talk to him, I have to lie to him, and it sucks. Mm-hmm. She's like, because it's being a Slayer comes up in some way, like in every conversation.
Yeah. So
they're having problems.
And then at Giles's house.
Yeah. Xander's having some problems.
Well, Spike is just chilling at Giles's house. It's kind of weird. Like, he's not even tied up. He's just walking around.
It's Oscar Madison and Felix Unger. It's fucking
What does that mean?
The Odd Couple.
Okay. You say that as though I should know. Like, that's from what, the 50s?
What the fuck?
I've seen the Odd Couple perform, but I don't know the actors that played in the original
They're
production.
They're not the act. What are you talking about? Those are the characters' names.
Oh, okay.
The original actors are Walter Matthau and John
Oh, really?
Jack Lemmon.
Okay, I like them.
And then on TV, it was Tony Randall and fucking Brett Summers' husband, but I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But he played Oscar Madison.
Yeah, you're the same age as me.
No, I can't think of his. I can't remember his name. But Tony Randall on the TV show in the 70s. Tony Randall and that's not Jack Warden.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, he was married to Brett Summer from the Match Game. Anyway, so
Spike ate all of Giles's Weetabix or whatever. Weetabix.
But if you say it in an English accent, it sounds like Weedy Bits.
Okay.
Weetabix.
No, I didn't know what this was.
It's like imagine. So it's an English cereal. Imagine McDonald's hash browns, like 3 of them in a bowl, but it's made of wheat and not
so gross. Like a giant Wheat Thin. Or not Wheat Thin, Wheaties, the cereal Wheaties, like a giant one though.
Right, yeah, like really big. And then you break it up with your spoon or whatever. So yeah, the Weetabix is all gone and Giles is upset. It's fun that they're both, because like I said, they really are like an odd couple, you know. But it's fun that they're both English. Yeah. So they can reference English things.
And Spike's like, oh, sometimes I like to put them in the blood for the texture.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so nasty. First of all, like, why does a vampire need texture to their blood? It's blood.
I mean, come on, he's still got a mouth.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah. And next episode, they're going to be fighting over Bovril.
What the hell's that?
It's an English. It's like a cup of meat. It's like drinking gravy. It's an English.
Ew.
It's an English thing. It's, you know what Vegemite is?
Yeah, I've heard of Vegemite.
Marmite and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Bovril is like, it's kind of like that because mostly they just put it on bread. They put it on like toast or whatever. Uh-huh. But it's literally like beef drippings, like concentrated, where you would hate it because she doesn't like gravy. It has like gravy consistency and little bits of meat in it and stuff like that. And yeah, they just put it on bread and stuff like that.
That's so gross.
But yeah, that's some people just drink it straight up.
Nasty.
But that's Bovril.
Okay, so that's going on there. They're bickering, but he's got free. It's weird to me that he has free run of Giles's home. It's
like, this is fun to me. I like this, and I hope that we get more of this because I like this season has finally found its footing. Like we finally have characters that like go together and make good pairings.
Yeah,
and like with Spike, like basically locked up, or kind of.
He's like their prisoner.
In Giles's house, like we have something for Giles to do.
Yeah.
We have scenes to go to and funny stuff to happen between the two of them.
And the other thing going on with Giles's house is that Xander just fucking walks in, he's like, oh, thanks for knocking, walks in with Anya. Who does that? Who just walks into like
apparently
an adult
Xander.
Man's house? Like, he could have been doing anything.
Xander is like one of the worst people in the world.
Wow.
But yeah, he's constantly like, I don't know. He's like a man child. Like he has not grown up at all. Yeah. But he and Anya are having a fight outside of. This is straight from 90210, by the way, too. Like if you haven't listened to our 90210 tapes, listen to our 90210 tapes because she was on that show. Emma Caulfield, I think, is the actress's name. She was one of Brandon's girlfriends. But anyway, this argument comes almost like straight out of there, where she's like, "I don't mean anything to you. What do I mean to you?" And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you don't ask about my day. We don't talk. You don't care how I feel.
You only care about having lots of orgasms.
Well, they say that after they come into the house.
Yeah.
Where he's like, because they have part of this conversation's outside. And then they come in, and yeah, she's like, it's like the first thing she says. She's like, you don't care about me. All you care about is lots of orgasms. And fucking Spike, like, is laying on the couch and, like, kind of like his head appears. And they're both like, he's like, you remember, like, how I talked about private conversations that are not private when they're in front of my friends? And Spike's like, we're not friends. Keep going.
It was great.
And then, like, yeah, they're just, like, they're bickering back and forth and everything. And Giles says, oh, well, I meant to have you come because they're there because he told Xander to drop by. And he's like, I meant to have you come after night because I need you to take Spike to your house. I can't have him here right now. And they're like, what the fuck? And they're all arguing about it. And he's like, I'm having a friend over and I want to be alone. And Anya goes, oh, an orgasm friend?
And he's like, there's no worse way you could have put that, but he doesn't say no.
No, because, I mean, well, it is.
Yes, 100%.
But, yeah, it's very funny. So, we have two characters that get introduced in this episode that I think may stay around. I'm pretty convinced one of them for sure is. I don't know about the other one, but...
Okay, who?
Well, the one is Giles' orgasm friend.
Okay.
This like attractive black woman comes in from England, and she has flown there specifically to have sex with Giles.
Yeah, she's like, they basically say hello, and she's like, okay, enough small talk.
She does not. She's not part of the. She becomes part of, but she's not part of the like supernatural world because later, towards the end of the episode, after she's experienced all this stuff, she's like, "Fuck! I thought you were like just trying to sound impressive or whatever when you were talking about all this like monsters are real and vampire and like all this shit and everything." And she's like, so everything you told me was true. And he's like, well, I wasn't in Pink Floyd, but yeah, everything else is true. So, like, she's totally new to all this stuff. And she comes out of nowhere. And I thought, like, sure, for like, just like to give him someone to have sex with, because I'm sure people are rooting for that for Giles. Whatever, sure. But she stays. Like, if she was not there at the end of the episode, if she was like, oh, I'm going back now, then I'd be like, okay, just like a one-off character, for something, I mean, not really just for him to have sex, but like for someone besides Spike, for him to work off of in scenes, to give him stuff to do. Yeah. That's what I would think her character would be. But she's there still at the end of the episode, and now she's been brought into this supernatural thing, so that makes me think that she is going to stick around.
Well, we'll see.
The other character, if you want me to get to it right now, Willow goes to her Wicca group.
Yeah, she's joined a Wicca group because she wants to work on her witchcraft and make, I don't know, witchy friends or whatever.
Witchy women. I don't know why she thinks that a Wicca group in college is going to be completely populated by actual witches, because it's just not. I mean, it's like a real world Wicca group where they're women talking about Gaia and
it's a religion,
embracing their spirituality and like all that stuff and everything, and then talking about having bake sales.
And she's like, "When are we going to talk about spells?"
And they're like, that's stereotypical. And that's the thing. Like, if you talk to a lot of Wiccas or Wiccans or whatever, they would think that. You do spells and stuff like that. And it's like, that's not what this fucking is,
I mean, they do sell, like, books about doing actual magic alongside books about the Wiccan religion. So, yeah. I mean, I think there is some overlap there.
Yeah, some, but yeah.
But, yeah.
So they think she's being offensive or whatever. But there's one woman in the class, a blonde woman.
Her hair is almost white. It is very, like, platinum blonde, I guess.
Who they call Tara, who seems to kind of respond to what Willow is saying. And then later, I guess we can just talk about their storyline because it's really short. Yeah. She thinks that everything that's happening, maybe she can do a spell to like reverse it or whatever. We see her in her room. It's very brief.
Her being
Tara.
Okay.
And she goes to find Willow. She knows what hall Willow is in. She goes to find Willow because she thinks together maybe they can do something, because she expressed a desire to be a real witch too, and I think they have like a little connection thing. They look at each other and stuff. I think they kind of both recognize the witch in each other, and the monsters start chasing her, Tara. So she runs, she finds Willow, and together they join hands and move this
vending machine
to block a door so they're not captured or killed.
Yeah.
So they use witch powers to work together to become even more powerful. So it makes me think that she is going to stick around and be a new friend for Willow. Maybe even more. There was some looks. So I don't know.
And they were holding hands.
Yeah.
We'll see.
For witch purposes, but come on.
So
Willow, maybe we should make out for witch purposes.
the monsters.
Yes. On Maple Street.
This happens overnight. We see everybody's like voices floating out of their mouths, like as little yellow things.
Yeah, Giles has loud sex with his woman that comes from England. I don't remember her name, but
and then they all lose their voice.
Yeah.
So it's even on the news that like everyone in Sunnydale has lost their voice. So it's like apparently the whole world is now in on.
They're just aware.
But they're like it's a laryngitis epidemic. Yeah. Like okay, so they're quarantined.
Why did the city release a statement? Who's the new mayor?
Right.
Now
that's a good question.
Now that the old mayor's dead, what happened to Principal Snyder? Oh, he got eaten. I forgot.
Yeah. But this is amazing acting during this episode because they can't talk. There's so much communication from looks.
Jokes.
Yeah.
There's jokes when they can't talk. It's very impressive.
Uh-huh.
Like, I can't say enough about the acting of the episode. It's fantastic. But yeah, they wake up, they realize they can't talk. No one can talk.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's, of course, exploiting the situation and selling message boards for $10.
Yep.
Awful.
Riley and his military guys go to, the professor, and she uses a Stephen Hawking voice to tell him.
This is hilarious, though. They get in the elevator, and then the elevator's asking for verbal confirmation of their identity, and they can't give it.
Which we've seen every time.
Yeah.
So that's not like whatever. Like, it's been established before. Mm-hmm. They do a retinal scan to get into the elevator, and then a voice scan so that the elevator goes all the way down and opens.
So they were not thinking at all. And there's a panel that Riley pulls back that's like for the override code, but he can't remember the override code, and it starts leaking poison gas. It's like, what did they call it? Like the neutralization?
It's countermeasures.
Countermeasure, yeah. So thankfully,
the professor saw them and saved them.
Yeah, they opened the door.
Yeah, but and she points to the sign that says "In case of emergency, use stairs."
Yeah, a lot of funny jokes.
But yeah, there's a lot of funny jokes in this. There's particularly a couple things between Spike and Xander that are really funny that we'll get to. But so she basically tells them, "Hey, keep people in line. Like, don't dress in military because that'd spook people, but kind of be on the street, and if there's fights or something like that, because there do seem to be more misunderstandings because people can't communicate with each other.
Right.
So at one point, Riley is like breaking up a fight between two guys and everything. And Buffy shows up, and they don't have words, but they have like communication. They end up kissing.
Yeah, he finally kisses her. He should have used one of the 20 openings he's had, but yeah, he finally kisses her.
Right. Now that they can't talk, like Buffy says, they just babble and babble. Now that they can't talk, they have to do physical.
So, yeah. So that was good.
The thing with Xander, so Xander comes into Giles's house, and Anya is there on the couch, like just kind of like dozing or whatever.
She's sleeping, yeah.
And Spike has gotten a cup of blood from the refrigerator to drink. And he drinks it, and as he drinks it, he gets the vampire face on. And so Xander walks in, and he sees like like Spike kind of like the way it's,
he was bent over her.
Yeah, the way it's positioned. I mean, he wasn't really bent over her. He was like sitting on the ground in front of her. But the way like he looks up to see who's coming in, the way he kind of looks up and everything, it looks like he's like right on top of her. And so Xander like runs and starts beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, well, he also has blood on his mouth. Like it's a really,
Yeah.
it's a real bad look. But yeah.
So he starts beating him up and everything, and Anya wakes up and she's pointing to her neck and everything, like I'm fine and stuff, and like Xander gives Spike this look like, oh sorry, whatever.
And then he runs over and hugs and kisses her, which
and she's so like this is proof that like he cares about her or whatever.
so she's very happy.
Because
and then
if Spike had killed her, he would have like beaten the shit out of him or whatever.
right, and then she makes the "let's go have sex" miming with her hands, and they leave. Like just a look would have done.
She's that's part of the comedy of her character.
She is
like,
crazy.
She doesn't know any better. So we should talk about the monsters.
Yes.
Really good makeup job.
Yeah.
Like these are creepy. Like a lot of times on the show, the monsters are just like whatever. Like not that they're not that the makeup's bad. The makeup's usually good, but they're threats. You know what I mean? They look more like antagonists, like like monstrous antagonists. These guys are fucking creepy. Like this is like the show is often not horror.
Yeah.
Even though it could be because of the subject matter and everything, it's mostly action. It's mostly action comedy stuff. But this is like the stuff out of nightmares.
Oh my God.
They're floating around, like they're all dressed in suits. They're floating around and they have this like fucking like permanent smile. Like they look like rotting corpses.
Yes.
Like skin has receded from the skull and stuff like that. It's really, really good, effective, creepy makeup.
And they have these other dudes that are shuffling along next to them in straitjackets, which is weird. Like, what do they have to do with
I don't
anything?
know, and their faces are all covered, so you don't really see what they look like, but they're like little henchmen.
And like nobody can make any noise, so they're just going along, looking in windows and stuff. And that was part of the rhyme the little girl sang. Like, but Giles' girlfriend or whatever is looking out the window, and one of the faces just floats past her.
Yeah, we get like a jump scare. Yeah,
that was awful.
yeah.
And then we find out what they're looking for.
They're looking for hearts for some reason.
They're taking people in their sleep and cutting out their hearts, and they can't scream. It's so awful.
Yeah, that's why. And we see it happen once. Apparently, they've taken like 2 or 3 of them. But
One of them was a 15-year-old girl, because that's what the newspaper headline said. That's terrible.
But yeah, well, we see them do one of the college kids and stuff. But yeah, no reason, like there's no reason given why they need hearts, but they just need hearts.
Yeah.
It's just that's more of a MacGuffin thing. It's just what they need. Like there's no real explanation needed. It's just like that's the threat. And so Giles finally figures it out.
Yeah, he's been researching.
He sees the drawings and stuff like that, and instead of picking up his like monster books, he picks up a book of fairy tales because they're fairy tale monsters. And he's like, the only thing that like worked or whatever is like this princess screamed, and it has to be a real human voice. It can't be a recording.
And he tells them all of this by gathering them in a classroom with a projector
overhead projector,
and putting like what is those little sheets?
The sheets, the overhead projector sheets.
Yeah, and does a little presentation.
Yeah, transparencies, I think they're called, or something like that.
It was very funny.
Yeah,
like you could have just got out a notebook, dude.
And there's another there's 2 jokes in this. Like, what do they need? And Willow's like pointing to her chest or whatever, and you see Xander mouth boobs. And it's hearts. And then the other thing, more subtle, he says one of the things, he's like, Buffy will go on patrol tonight, and he draws a picture of Buffy, and it's a little wider. And she's like, she looks all offended, and she's like doing this on her body, like, I'm not that big, like, it's funny.
Yeah.
So they're apparently several nights they need to do this, because they go out one night, they kill a couple people, and then they're going out the next night. That's when they're chasing Tara and Willow and everything. Meanwhile, though, Buffy is chased by one of the straitjacketed dudes, and ends up in their little like lair that they're in, which is like the clock tower. I don't know if it's a church or what. I don't know. But also there is Riley. They finally see each other.
They almost shoot each other with crossbows.
Yeah, and they finally see like, oh, we're both fighting these things. So then they just keep fighting and everything, and they eventually beat them because they get up to the main area. All the like scary dudes are there and stuff like that. She sees the box.
And it's the box from her dreams.
Where all the voices are kept.
Yeah.
And so she mimes for him to break it.
He breaks something else first.
I think he breaks one of the jars with the hearts in it or something like that. But then, and he like looks all impressed.
Proud.
And she's like, no. And so then he breaks the box. She gets her voice back. They all get their voices back. And she screams and all their heads explode.
That was like the one part I did not like how they killed them.
Yeah, I mean it's
a little cheesy.
Yeah, that part is cheesy, especially considering like how scary they are and how scary everything else was to this point. But it is like a fairy tale way to do things too.
Yeah.
So they all die. Everything is restored to normal, except 2 kids are dead. But you know, whatever. That's low body count for Sunnydale.
Right.
And then Riley comes into her room and sits down and he's like, hey, I guess we need to talk. And she's like, yeah, I guess we need to. And then it holds for almost an uncomfortable amount of time of silence between the two of them. And then we go to credits. We're out.
Yeah, so I guess we'll find out about their talk next episode.
Yeah. Really, really good episode. Like we both said, the acting is phenomenal.
And it's funny. I mean, they managed to make it scary and funny, and you know,
it's really effective. It's definitely a high point for this. This might be the best episode that I've seen. It's very good. But yeah, I mean that is the episode. Carol loved it. I'm sure you did too. But why don't you tell the people where they can get their own hearts?
You can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
All right, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.